What's up, family? This is Yuta. Back again with another lesson. Christians can't stand me, and here's why. I got a message from somebody calling themselves I Show Gospel. He commented asking for a debate. And here's a few reasons why I don't debate. Starting with Proverbs chapter 13, verse 10. A vain man through pride causeth debate, and with the counsel is wisdom. Proverbs 17 and 19. Whoso is loving transgression is loving debate. Whoso is making high his interest is seeking destruction. Isaiah chapter 41 and verse 12. Thou seekest them and findest them not. The men who debate with thee, they are as nothing. Yea, as nothing. The men who war with thee. In Nehemiah chapter 8 and verse 8. They read from the book, from the law of the Creator, clearly, and they gave the sense so that the people understood the reading. So let's examine some scriptures that Christians twisted and manipulated to fit their narrative of Jesus. Let's start with the prophecy of Isaiah. That's their favorite. That is probably the most used book and verse that the Christians use. So let's go with that. Many Christians believe that Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 14 is a prophecy of the coming Messiah, JC, who will be born of a virgin. Now I want y'all to pay very close attention because this is going to prove beyond any doubt that the prophecy of Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 14 was not about JC. And I will show you who it was about. So, many Christians believe that Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 14 is a prophecy of the coming Messiah, JC, who will be born of a virgin. The Isaiah passage says, therefore, the Creator himself will give you a sign. Now, it's very important that y'all really listen close, and you will see without a doubt what I'm trying to show you. Therefore, the Lord himself will give you a sign. This is the Creator talking to Ahaz. Behold, a virgin will be with child. We're going to clear this up, this word virgin. We're going to clear this up because it was a mistranslation, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't an accident. But a virgin will be with child and bear a son, and she will call his name, excuse me, Emmanuel. Chapter 7, verse 14. Like other scriptural passages, this takes place within a specific historical context. In this case, the prophet Isaiah is addressing King Ahaz of Judah when he and Jerusalem were under attack by the kingdom of Israel and its ally Aram Damascus, which is Syria. Their goal was to get King Ahaz to join them in an alliance that would unite to fight against the powerful Neo-Assyrian Empire. Nonetheless, Assyria would soon come to King Ahaz's assistance and destroy the kingdom of Israel and Syria. Before this, however, Isaiah promised Ahaz that God would destroy his enemies. And as a sign that what he said would come true, the prophet predicted that an Alma, remember the word above that said virgin? All right, pay close attention. Prophet predicted that an Alma, which is the Hebrew word for a young woman of childbearing age, not a virgin, would give birth to a child. The child's name would be Emmanuel, which translates to God is with us. Now, you should be able to put two and two together here at this point and see that this very thing right here is how they connected JC as being God with us, which was a total fabricated lie. And that the threat from the enemy kings would be ended before the child grows up. What child are we talking about? We're going to see in a minute. This historical setting is important to consider. The difficulties for believing this to be a prediction of the virgin birth of JC 7 or so centuries later are several. First, the word virgin is not mentioned in Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 14. And Isaiah could have selected a more suitable word had he wanted to describe Emmanuel's mother as a virgin. In that case, Betula would be a more common way to refer to a woman who has never had sexual relations with a man. Instead, Isaiah used the word Alma, which means young woman. It is the female form of young man, and it therefore explains why a number of Christian Bible translations have since replaced the word virgin with young woman. And even though most evangelical Bibles still render Alma as virgin, which is not correct, they footnote it with young woman as an alternative. Second, the historical context provides a challenge. Should someone interpret the passage as referring to JC's birth, then one might wonder as to exactly what assurance Ahaz, who at the time was being besieged by a military presence, would have had given a prophecy predicting a future some 7 centuries removed. The reasonable explanation is that this was a prophecy given to Ahaz in his own lifetime and historical context regarding an event that would happen then, not 700 years later. This had to happen while Ahaz was still alive. That way, he would have an opportunity to witness the sign. After all, the sign was for him. Details in the wider passage also suggest that the child Isaiah was referring to could not have been JC. For example, as scholar Tom Stark explains, the detail that the child would eat butter and honey, none of you have ever heard, read, or seen any instance anywhere in any book where JC ate butter and honey. Refers to the land having been recently ravaged by the Assyrians and that the people were forced to eat uncultivated food, butter and honey, rather than bread and wine. Isaiah says the child would be called Emmanuel, which means God with us. Does not mean the child himself is God, as was believed of JC by the earliest Christians. On this point, Stark explains ancient names frequently included reference to some god or divine activity. Joshua's name means Yah saves, and Azariah means Yah helps. But neither Joshua nor Azariah were therefore understood to be Yah in the flesh. The significance of naming the child God with us is that the child was a sign to King Ahaz that Yah was going to protect the kingdom of Judah from the hostile alliance presently threatening it. The child was born, and not too long thereafter, Assyria had indeed defeated the kingdom of Israel in battle. That is the single fixed meaning of Isaiah's prophecy. Further, if this is a prophecy of JC, then who are the two kings? whose kingdoms identified by the prophet Isaiah would be abandoned during JC's lifetime. Answer that question. Who, during the first century CE, dreaded the kingdom of Israel when there had not been a northern kingdom of Israel in existence for 700 years? When one uses Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 14 as a predictive prophecy of the virgin birth of Jesus, I suggest the reader to consider the passages carefully and find where there is any reference to a Messiah. This is why the Christians can't stand me. These passages are not talking about the Messiah. The Messiah is never mentioned in them. Anyone who thinks they are talking about the Messiah has to import the Messiah into the passage because he simply is not there. Now, I should stress that no one prior to Christianity took these passages to refer to a future Messiah. But how does the Gospel of Matthew factor into this? According to Matthew, an angel appears to Joseph, Mary's husband, in a dream and informs him that Mary's pregnancy fulfills what was spoken by the Lord through the prophet Isaiah. Now, all this took place to fulfill what was spoken by the Lord through the prophet. Behold, the virgin shall be with child, and shall bear a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, spelled with an I, not an E, which translated means God with us. Matthew chapter 1, verse 22 to 23. The issue is that Matthew's author drew his Isaiah chapter 7:14 reference from the Septuagint, a Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible that began centuries before Jesus' birth. In the Septuagint, Isaiah predicted that a Parthenos, a virgin, that's what the word Parthenos means. It means a virgin. Isaiah predicted that a Parthenos, a virgin, would conceive a child. Stark explains that the trouble began when the Greek translators of the Greek Septuagint translated Alma using the Greek word Parthenos. See the mix-up here? Which by Matthew's time did mean virgin. Since Matthew used the Greek Bible, he would have understood the meaning to have been virgin. Thus, his reapplication of the prophecy to support the tradition of the virgin birth of Jesus. This is understandable given that Matthew's author was eager to convince his Greek-speaking Jewish audience that Jesus was God's promised Messiah. Hence, why he included references to the Hebrew scriptures. The Matthean community is not interested in the text for its historical meaning. They are only interested in using the text to elucidate their own present day experiences and to reinforce their sense of identity. The son born to King Ahaz in the prophecy of Isaiah was Hezekiah, not Jesus. Hezekiah, not Jesus. Stemming from the ancient Hebrew root chadzak, meaning strengthen. The name Hezekiah means God strengthens or mighty God. So now we see that Isaiah chapter 7 verse 14 was no prophecy of JC, but Hezekiah. The Christians twisted the suffering servant of Isaiah chapter 53. Let's look at the scriptures of Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 41, verse 8 to 9. But we're going to find out who the suffering servant was. Like I said before, this is why the Christians can't stand me. But you, O Israel, my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the offspring of Abraham, my friend, You whom I took from the ends of the earth and called from the farthest corners, saying to you, you are my servant. I have chosen you and not cast you off. This is why the Christians can't stand me. And that's okay with me. The truth must be told. Let's look at some more manipulated and twisted scriptures. Isaiah chapter 44 and verse 1. But now hear, O Jacob, my what? My servant. Israel, 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 whom I have chosen. I want to bring something out at this point. Since we're talking about servants and the Creator himself is calling them out, why hasn't he mentioned JC? Isaiah chapter 44, verse 21. Remember these things, O Jacob and Israel, for you are my servant. I formed you. You are my servant. O Israel, you will not be forgotten by me. Look at all these opportunities for JC to be interjected into these scriptures. But yet, we have yet to see him show up. And this is the Creator. He's telling you who his servant is. He don't call anybody else. Isaiah chapter 45 and verse 4. For the sake of my servant Jacob, not JC, and Israel, my chosen, not JC, I called you by your name. I named you, though you do not know me. Isaiah 48 and verse 20. Go out from Babylon, flee from Chaldea, declare this with a shout of joy, proclaim it, send it out to the end of the earth. Say, the Creator has redeemed his servant Jacob. Isaiah chapter 49 and verse 3. And he said to me, you are my servant, Israel. And he said to me, you are my servant, Israel, in whom I will be glorified. So how much sense does it make to debate this issue with a Christian when it's painfully obvious they are delusional and misled? There are many more misunderstood scriptures proving the Christian deceptions. Isaiah chapter 7 verse 14 is just one of them, which should be more than enough. My question is this. If Jesus, who is supposed to be the start of the reason for Christianity, is a fact, this would mean that Christianity would be the creation of a 13th tribe, completely dismissing the original 12 tribes or adding to the 12 original tribes. After all, wouldn't Jesus' existence refer to another tribe? The tribe of Christians or Christianites? This is why Christians can't stand me. Shalom.